Good evening, everyone. My name is Abhishek Jain, and I'm pleased to invite you all to today's session on volunteering. What is it, and why should school students engage in it? This session forms a part of Plan Together and CRY's social impact driven collaboration to ameliorate the culture of volunteerism through an experience based teaching and learning model. Towards the end of every single part in this session, we will also be having a Q&A session for which we would request all of you to put your questions in the live chat box. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us Bitopi, who is currently working as a senior manager of CRY's volunteer action team, and also Neha, who's been volunteering with CRY for the last 3 years and has also been associated with organizations like UNICEF and Teach for India. In today's session, they will be speaking about the importance of volunteering, its utility for school students, and also covering the who, the what, the how, the when, and the where of how exactly a student can ascertain where to volunteer and what to do with it. I would now like to hand it over to Bitopi and Neha to start off this session by first talking about volunteering and volunteerism and who should consider it.
Thank you, Abhishek, and thank you, Planty, for this wonderful opportunity. To just to give us this platform where we get a chance to talk to people, young people like you, and to talk about volunteering and volunteerism, which is really very close to our heart. So, as Abhishek has mentioned already in our introduction, so I am Bitopi. I am currently working as a senior manager with CRY's National Volunteer Action Team, and today we also have a very young, bright volunteer with us, Neha, who has been working with CRY for last almost like 3 years. And Abhishek has said she, has been also associated with other organizations, and she has been very actively associated with CRY from her school days. So today, Neha and me both will try to look into volunteering, what volunteering is about, what volunteerism is about, and what CRY and volunteering is all about, and how young people like you can also be a part of this this organization and volunteering as a whole. So uh, you know just to begin with, I want to give you a small introduction about what CRY is. So I'm sure that many of you might heard about CRY, and I'm also sure that few of you might have some young childhood nostalgia about this organization, because you have somewhere down the line we have heard what CRY is. So it's a 43-year-old organization, and to understand what CRY is, maybe we have to transport ourselves back to the year 1979. I know that most of us, yeah, matlab none of us have been born at the time. So in 1979, there's a very young employee who had this dream and a vision that he wanted to do something for India children. And that young gentleman was Mr. Dipan Kapoor, who is the founder of CRY. So CRY really has a very humble beginning in 1979 with just 50 rupees, and but he had one dream, and which we still believe in. All our volunteers like Neha and thousands of volunteers we work in, we always believe that the responsibility of change lies in all of us, and that social transformation is not only about the cause, but it's also about the people. It's about the people whom we met on our 43 years journey, the people who hold us during the time of our need, and also the people who add value and strength to our work every single day. So you can ask what CRY do. It's a non-profit. We are a non-profit working in the space of child rights and participation. We work in different domains like education, health, nutrition, safety and protection, and also children's participation. So currently we are working in 19 states of India, where we are working with more than 100 partner organizations, and we have different teams to take care of these domains. So now coming back to Abhishek, what Abhishek has started this session with, volunteering and volunteerism. So, CRY has this history of last 20 plus years where we have been associated with volunteers. So, as Abhishek had mentioned in my introduction, that I have been working with the CRY's Volunteer Action team. So, in my career of 10 years, I have worked with volunteers and interns for most part of it. And I must say, it's one of the most gratifying things that I have ever done. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to meet new faces, new fresh ideas, young minds every day in your professional life. So I think volunteering is one bit through which you can, you can you can earn that gratification. You can have that gratification in you. At Cry, we deal with more than 5-6 thousand volunteers every year. We deal with around 1,500 interns every year. We have a very strong base of volunteers, and these volunteers are working in different domains, in different work, and they are contributing in whatever capacity they can to our work. So what if you ask me what volunteering is all about, I would say from my experience that volunteering is something which the reason you volunteer it doesn't matter. What matters is that that you genuinely wanted to contribute, you genuinely wanted to give something back to the society, you genuinely want to help people. So I think if we need to sum up what volunteering is, I would say it is what volunteering is all about. So now I would hand it over to Neha, because she herself is a volunteer, so she will definitely let you know more about what volunteering is. Her experience has been. So Neha, yes, over to you.
Thank you so much, and it was really insightful. And I feel so happy to be here in capacity of a volunteer and to tell you all about it. So, we often hear the very famous quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And you wish. So, the word you is, at Cry is unlocked by the way they empower and they help you realize your potential, the power in you, because it stands for child rights and you. So that in itself they believe this. I remember 3 years back, and I was confused about things, and I didn't know why volunteering was so important. What is volunteerism? But I had that seed in mind that, here I'll be able to make some change, make some difference, and use my skills and whatever I have to contribute to society. So it was a journey that began from there. And there I realized that how important it is for us to understand issues from a point of view that is less privileged. And we say that it is it is really difficult to step into other person's shoes and feel. So the quality of empathy is what drives you as a volunteer. What it is, it is instilled in you. So I think that value has fueled me over the years, and I've been able to learn so much, and it has been a journey of self growth and social impact going hand in hand. So we often hear that you have to have your cup full if you have to serve others. And that knowledge, that those values is something that Cry has instilled, and Cry has spread among its so many different volunteers. So I think volunteerism comes from the word volunteer, and volunteer means, as Bitopi ma'am also mentioned, that it is about doing something from your will, your willingness. So as students we are often showed a roadmap. You have to follow a certain path, and you have to complete your schooling, you have to do college, you have a proper roadmap. But volunteerism actually lets you know that what actually you want to do. What is the thing that comes from your heart and from your own? Together vaccinated hundreds of children and raised lakhs of rupees. Yes, that sounds, I think, big when I say it, lakhs of rupees. But when little efforts of all the volunteers come together, I think that is the result, and that is the power of volunteering. So working as a team lead was such an incredible experience. We did different campaigns, had crucial conversations, and I've also got the opportunity to host and moderate the national level panel discussions on girl empowerment during the International Day of Girl Child. And that was a point that really enhanced my confidence as an individual and as a school student, because you have been entrusted to moderate the entire session with, experts and people who have so much of insight to offer. And being entrusted with that actually empowered me and helped me develop my public speaking skills, and developed my communication skills, and also develop a deeper insight into different perspectives. So this has been my journey so far in Cry, and I still continue to be a volunteer. I still continue to be engaged in different activities, different causes like education or girl empowerment, health, vaccination. We did for COVID, so all of it continues. And recently, we also have a campaign on uh, menstruation and the myths around it, how we need to talk about it. So we are continuing with that journey. And and I think that this is just a beginning, and this association will will go a long way, and we'll be able to make a much larger impact together.
Thanks a lot for sharing that, Neha. I think that was a lot, and I think it was a very, very exciting experience. So thanks a lot for sharing that. And I think the one thing that I noticed out of your experience is that fortunately you had a extremely pleasant experience and also an extremely healthy learning experience in terms of all the work that you did, both at Cry and with Cry, and that's just fantastic. But the obvious question that comes out of this is that as a school student who's still, let's say, in their eighth, ninth, or 10th grade or 11th grade, how exactly should a student come in and determine which is the right organization for them to actually volunteer with? Because we see countless opportunities for volunteering, for interning, and it's very difficult to ascertain that which one of these are going to come in and just take too much of our time, or which ones of these are going to come in and end up being like Cry, where we're going to end up learning a lot in the process and also developing and growing as individuals. And as a part of the same part, Bitopi ma'am, if you could also just step in and talk a little bit about how Cry has come in with certain programs curated for school students, especially in the age group of, let's say, anywhere between 6th grade to 12th grade, that would be great.
Great. And I think that it is a very important question. And so you are absolutely right when you said that I was lucky to have a very pleasant experience and healthy learning, and have social impact and self growth go hand in hand. Uh, and after that, I also came across different organizations. I worked with different volunteer groups, and therefore I came to realize that with the work that we do, with the social impact that we create, it is so important to get the right work environment, to be able to not lose yourself on, I could see many of the volunteers who were facing burnout while they were doing volunteering, or were engaged with different organizations. So it is very important to make the right choice. So how to do that? I think a few of the parameters that we can consider. So that would be one, I think, research. So it is very important to, whenever you want, actually volunteering is something that, students look forward to, and they think that it'll add greatly to their CVs and their resumes, and that is true. But do not do it just for adding it to your profile. But it is very important to stay connected to the cause you are working for. So research on the cause that you really want to work on. If it is education, if it is women empowerment, if it is anything, if it is environment. So you should be strongly connected to it. You research about the cause, research about the organization. So for example, I really felt strongly about education, and I searched about what can I do. So what is the situation of education, how can I volunteer, how can I balance my studies along with the volunteering or the impact that I want to create. So researching on all of those aspects and then going for looking at the organizations who are working greatly for them, and then going through, how transparent it is. So, I looked up to different websites. I looked to different organizations, and I found that, transparency, the values of transparency is very important. And with cry, if you even go to their website, they have different projects. They have, they reflect that, what funds or what are the resources going to which project. So I think that makes it really transparent for us as volunteers to really trust. It is, trust. So, it's working for so many years, like decades, and that also builds up and adds to so much credibility and the positive experiences that you hear. So I think all of that research plays a major role in whatever you do. Research about the cause, research about the organization, and then obviously you have to work with them. You have to see that, how much value are you gaining. It is also about how much value do you feel. It is really important because at cry, I really realized that uh, the feeling of being valued empowers you to do more, to serve more, and to grow more. And in different organizations, you will definitely have different experiences, but to realize your self-worth and to realize your priorities is very important. So consider all of those factors and, just take the leap, because ultimately you will always learn from your experience with different organizations and different ideas, different experiences. So yes, take the leap and give it a try. And now I would really ask ma'am to
Yeah.
share her insights.
Yeah, wonderful, Neha. I'm really sorry because I there's some internet issues and I lost few minutes in between. So coming back to Abhishek's question about school children and curated school children volunteering and curated programs. So as we always say in Cry, it doesn't matter how young you are, but you can always be a volunteer with us. There is always different opportunities which comes in when you join us as a volunteer. As Neha has mentioned, be it an online teaching, be it some music activities or music classes which you can take, be it a school student engaging themselves for a national level study where they are like talking to different people, understanding their views about child rights, right? So these are different kind of activities where being young also you can be a volunteer, and you can really gain some very substantial experience on the way. And coming back to curated programs, we have different curated programs for different age groups of volunteers. So if you say, we have a very specific curated program to 9th to 12th grade students, which is an annual curated program which comes every year in the month of June, July. So where we invite students from 9th standard to 12th standard to be with us for a month, where they have to dedicate a specific amount of time in a week. And in these 4 weeks, they get opportunity to learn different specific topics like child rights, like communication from the market experts. So they have master classes where they get to know about these topics. Then they do activities regarding these topics. So these are like these are very like, curated programs which we hold for school children. So in the same way, there are curated programs for people who are volunteers who are above 18 also. So there is always scope. It doesn't matter you are a young school student or you are someone who is retired and have free time and wanted to do contribute your time and your experience. So you can always be a volunteer with us, and you're always welcome to do that. So yes, Abhishek.
Thanks a lot for sharing that, Nia, and thanks a lot for answering that with Ma'am. I think that's very, very helpful. And I think now I would just want to go to the next part of just going into actually how exactly can a student actually go ahead and apply for a volunteership, and also a little bit about what exactly is the distinction between a volunteership and an internship. Because a lot of times we realize that there's a lot of organizations that offer both, If I'm not wrong, even CRI offers both a volunteership
Right.
and an internship. So, how
Right.
exactly should a student come in and pick one of these two, and why should it be, and which one should it be? So, Bitopi ma'am, if you could just throw some light on
Okay.
this, and
Sure.
thereafter, Neha, if you could also just talk about why did you choose a volunteership as opposed to an internship? Thank you.
Right, right. So, yeah, as you mentioned, Abhishek, CRI do offer both volunteering and internships. So, there is a very neat one, very definitive distinction between the two. Volunteering, as we say, is very flexible, you can say. So if you are a school student where you feel like, you have your classes, then you have your tuitions, but you are only free on a Sunday, so that's the time when you want to dedicate. Or a working professional who is like, I'm just, I'll be available at night for 2 hours, that's what I can do. Absolutely flexible. It always depend upon, like, your own convenience, your own timing. You can work accordingly, but yeah, we always say that you have to give a specific amount of time. As you have heard from Neha, that she have been with us for 3 years, so the amount of the longer you are with us is always better, that you will get that kind of experience and exposure. And coming back to internships, internships are something which is more, you can say hardcore, that you have to be like, you have to dedicate a specific amount of time. um, we always say, before the pandemic, CRI internship was completely offline. Interns have to be in office every day, Monday to Friday, and they work along with the team in the office. But after the pandemic, the scenario has changed. We have online internships right now. We have hybrid internships at the moment, where also on ground internships are opened right now, because this COVID situation has improved a bit. Just a very specific amount of time for at least a month. We say ki, you have to be available Monday to Friday every day for a month. And that's a very basic distinction between an intern and a volunteer. If you feel that you have that 1 month to dedicate where you will be working full time every day, you are welcome to do an internship. But if you feel that, you will can dedicate maybe a 3 months, a 4 month, or year, or maybe someone like Neha who can dedicate 3 years plus, then you can definitely volunteer where with a convenient timing. So that what it is. And how to apply it, it's extremely simple. So you can just visit our website, which is www.cry.org. You will find a specific volunteer and internship page. Just go to that page. We have a very team will get back to you. So you will hear from us, maybe, maybe within 10 to 15 days, you will hear from our team. And then you will be invited for an orientation where the team will take you through, what CRI is, what kind of work you can do and all. And then you can join us as a volunteer. And if it's for an internship, then definitely there are processes where you have to appear for a personal interview, where, you might be asked for some sample work um, of yours which you have done previously. So yeah, so that is how the entire volunteering and internship process is. Also, if sometimes we collaborate with colleges and universities for internship, where we know ki every year, from this university or from this college, we will be taking this many numbers of interns with us. So that is the major distinction between internship, volunteering, and how we onboard interns and volunteers.
Right. And coming to the next part of the question. So I have done both internship and volunteering with CRI. So I have done during this course of 3 years. It is not something that I really planned of when I came to CRI's office for orientation, that I'll be here for 3 years. But it's something that, uh, things came up, and I got really empowered, and kind of felt connected to the organization and the different projects that it is doing, so that kept me going. So so as ma'am rightly said, volunteering is more flexible, while internship is more time bound, in a way that it specifies the tasks that are to be done, and that is very important for the wholesome learning. So I have done both with Cry, and I think that internship provided me a foundation for the learning that I required, the building of knowledge base, the perspective, the depth that was required to deal with the on ground issues, along with the experiences that were hands on. But after that, volunteering gave me an opportunity to pick up projects and tasks and different events that I really felt inclined towards after that period of internship, or after that period of working uh, and learning. So I think that would be a major distinction for me. However, I still continue to volunteer because it remains flexible, and I can choose projects. And I think that entire experience also gave me and opened a lot of opportunities for me. I'm currently also working with UNICEF India as a content creator, and I'm also working with Teach for India. So that really opened a lot of opportunities and helped me to uh, to kind of build that foundation which I required to reach these organizations and work with them at the level that they are working with. So yes, it has really laid foundation for all the opportunities that have come my way, all the collaborative projects, or whether it be different, so direct or indirect impact has been there for sure. Yeah, so that will be about it.
Thanks a lot for sharing that, Neha, and thanks a lot, Vitopi ma'am, for throwing some light on what exactly is the difference, the technical difference between both of these terms. I think this is going to be very useful for students in the future who are actually trying to pick and juggle between how many volunteerships they should do, how many internships, which ones, and why. So thanks a lot for that. I think that I'm going to be going towards the end of the session now, and I think the main thing that I want to now ask you both is what are some of the skills or rather benefits that you think that a school student can acquire when they actually volunteer during school? And Neha, I know that you spoke about this in the beginning about how it gave you a lot of opportunities and how it also opened up to you that what is it that what is it that this particular volunteership or any volunteership for that matter can offer to you that your school cannot ideally offer to you?
Yes, an interesting question and the twist in the end. Yes, so I think, as I said earlier, that school definitely provides theoretical foundation, theoretical concepts, but somewhere the practical side of it, the on ground reality. If we are studying social studies, if we are maybe even today I'm studying psychology, so, how am I able to apply a particular theory or a particular concept or a chapter to the real life situation is what making a difference between institutional learning, like in a school or in a college, or volunteering, or actually working with an organization. It also helps you to carve your career in a better way, because you get an insight about how it's not only about an NGO, but any corporate or any organization, any government agency, how does it work, what is the insight into it. So even if you are volunteering or doing internship, for that matter, I think that will really help you to understand that, and kind of be more on ground and practical with the things that you learn theoretically. So that will be the first part. And the second, I think, benefits, there are a lot of benefits apart from the way you develop your personality, leadership skills, communication, or the way you just become an independent thinker. Volunteerism, willingness, so you know how to take stand for what you really feel for, and you think about. So you build confidence, stakeholder management or project execution, and all those different skills. But along with those skills, also comes experience of what is happening, in the grassroots level, and you also get that foundation for more opportunities that would have been, that would have been actually, without that experience you couldn't have gotten those opportunities if you've directly come from a school or a college where you've just confined yourself to the books. But to go beyond the books and learn these things, learn practical skills, that is really important. So I think that would be my input to the question. Over to ma'am.
Okay, so I think Neha has very, very beautifully put that, and I don't actually have much to add on that. When Abhishek was asking that question, I was thinking, okay, let me go back to my school days. But when Neha answered that question, I think it's beautifully covered everything. We always believe that how young you are doesn't matter. You definitely have something or the other skills. There can't there is no one in this entire world who don't have any skills. ऐसा तो हो ही नहीं सकता है. We everybody of us have something or the other. So we always encourage, it doesn't matter if you consider yourself to be a very good cook, no problem. We have stories of volunteers like who are really good bakers, and they baked cookies, and they sold off those cookies in their societies and in some events, and they raise funds for Christ. We have volunteers who are really good in storytelling, and we really ask them to tell some stories which we will record, and those stories will go to the children we are working with in your mother tongue maybe. So it doesn't matter whatever skills you have. you, Here you will always get the chance to explore your skills. And as Neha has mentioned, in many of the times she has mentioned that it unless and until you do something practically, you won't understand what kind of skill sets you possess. Because we will always think that oh, I can write, but okay, I'm a very good writer, but until and unless I'm using that writing skills in a practical way, I'm not, I don't know actually I can write or not. So that is very important. And in Cry, we always try to give that environment and that opportunity to each and every volunteer that comes and joins us, be it any age group, but you're open to
And I would like to add one more thing. A prerequisite for a volunteer, if you ask me that, I think it would be just be yourself. If you want to, if you write good poems, if you dance, if you sing, if you can do yoga, if you can bake, if you can cook, if you can do, anything. And it is so important today, because it really matters. And yeah, just take the sleep, and I'm sure that one of you might be here and be speaking in such sessions after a while. So yes.
For sure,
yeah.
Neha. That sounds really, really nice. And thanks a lot, Butobi ma'am, for also putting in your perspective on this. And I think with this, I come to the last part of the session where I would just want to hand it back to both of you to just share any kind of tips from your experience with respect to what exactly should a student do during when they're in school, when they're in 6th to 8th grade or 9th to 12th grade, how they should probably just consider and planning their volunteerships. And also if there's just about any myth that you think you would want to bust about volunteering during school, that would also be really nice. But yeah, over to both of you.
Yeah, so I definitely Neha can add on to it. But one very big myth, which I think is also always associated with volunteering and school students, is that you're really young. So what kind of skill sets will you do I have or do I possess to go and volunteer with a non-profit like Cry? So we have talked in the last 40 minutes a lot about everything. So now that myth has been busted, you don't have to have a very specific skill set to be a volunteer. As Neha has mentioned, you have to have that big heart. You have to be yourself. You just have to have that willingness that I want to know. I know I have my classes from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening. Then I have my tuitions maybe, but I am free on a Sunday and I want to do that. So that is what is required for school children. And tips, I think there is nothing specific called as a tip. if you want it, just do it. It's very simple as that. You want it, you do it. If you feel that you are stuck and you need to understand more, no issues, you ask anyone. You can just pick up a phone, you pick up your phone and call Cry. Somebody or the other will guide you how to do that. If you are very confused what to do, I don't know, just write an email to us. Someone from us will respond to you, and that's how you can start your journey. So it's as simple as that. So yeah, I'm sure that Neha might have many things to add on to this. Over to you, Neha.
Yeah, but I'll keep it brief. And to mention myths, yes, there are a lot of myths, and one of the major is, I think, you are too young. You know, why should we listen to you? Or, you know, what extra value will you add in this entire space of, change or development or anything? So I think we have, I think in Cry itself we have a lot of examples. And in fact, I was only 15 when I really joined Cry. And I think, no, young people have like so much more power, they have energy, and they know what they want. So what young people want, it is it is very important to hear from the young people and talk to them, because they've also raised so much of funds, because they had conviction in the cause. They knew that the fact that we are able to learn, and it is a it is a privilege, but no, it's a right. It's a right for every child, and how important it is to reach to everyone. And this conviction led them to raise so many funds, so many resources, for the children. So I think, no, you are not too young. And uh, you know just just go for it. And another myth regarding volunteering is that it is a very selfless service. You have to give a lot, but I think that while you are giving, I think you are receiving much more at the end of it. And it is just, as I just mentioned, that it is not merely a selfless service, but it is actually a process of finding your own self. And that is really true. So that is, yeah, there's a lot of things that you might be worried or concerned about. But just search, just talk to people, and I'm sure that you will get the answers that you want. And don't keep it to yourself, and go out there. And tips, definitely, I've just mentioned that: be yourself. Whatever skills you have, feel confident about yourself and go ahead, because there are a lot of people who actually want to be in the place where you are today. And just being, even today sometimes I feel that why am I so, that word privileged, or resources. But do not use it as a curtain to hide behind it, but use it as a blanket to provide warmth to others. And be happy for what you have, and work to give back to society and to bring smiles in the world. And yes, take care of yourself and be yourself. That will be from my end. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for sharing that, Bitopi ma'am, and thanks a lot, Neha, for ending with those wonderful words. I think that that's something which should be the guiding light for a lot of students who are actually trying to figure out what they want to do and also where to volunteer and also why to volunteer. So thanks a lot once again, both Neha and Bitopi ma'am, for this wonderful and very insightful session. And I look forward to the rest of the sessions as a part of this collaboration. And thank you both for joining once again.
Thank you, Abhishek, and
Thank
thank you, Planty, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.